Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Guitar Talk. I'm your host, Mike Higgins, and it's great to be with you. And thanks for tuning in. We talk about guitars, all different styles of music and equipment. And if you've got a great guitar or a story you'd like to share with us, feel free to reach out, and maybe we can schedule to have you on the show sometime and talk about your instruments or collection. But I'm very excited about today's guest. One of the things we pride ourselves on here is the wide range of styles of instruments and music we present to you, and today is no exception. Originally hailing from the Boston area, today's guest is a multi-instrumentalist. He plays guitar, mandolin, and bass, and he toured with the world-famous Clancy Brothers, and he is the only American that's ever done that. And he was the guitar player at the world's largest Irish festival in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, as part of the Clancy family reunion. I became aware of him probably when you went with the Shenanigans, perhaps. And we used to share a couple of venues, the former Kinsale Inn in Mattapoisett. He's performed with Tommy Makem, Aoife Clancy, Alfie O'Shea. There's just a long list of gigs and experiences. He performed on the Don Imus Show, for those of you who remember Don's fairly animated show. And he's also signed to the New York publishing outfit, DSM Publishing. They handle his catalog of original material. He's written a lot of great stuff. So folks, today I'm happy to bring you Eddie Dillon. Eddie, welcome aboard. Thanks for joining us.
Mike, what a pleasure, man.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Tell us how you came to be part of the Clancys.
Well, that's a long and a short story. I grew up actually in Braintree in a very Irish-American family, and I can remember as a little boy watching the Clancy Brothers on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Oh, sure.
And then became naturally interested in Irish music and started playing in Irish bars when I was in college. And then we formed the Shenanigans in my late 20s, and we actually met and played some gigs with the Clancy Brothers back then. And I got to know the lads. And then in the 90s, I was off playing with a couple of other bands and got a call from Aoife Clancy, who said her dad and Patty Clancy were looking for a fourth member of their band to do some touring. Would I be interested? And
sure.
Absolutely.
Yes,
and
outstanding.
We ended up touring the United States, all over the place, and we did 2 tours in Ireland. So I
Wonderful.
got to appear in all sorts of places and had a great time with them.
How prepared were you for that gig? Did you already know some of their music, or did you have a lot of learning in front of you?
I thought I was prepared until I started rehearsing, and they have a very distinctive style that
Yes.
Anybody that listens to them would recognize right away. And they spent many hours, especially Bobby and Finbar, working with me in my kitchen, getting down the innuendos of the music. So I knew all the tunes, but getting the inflections right and blending it in with their very well-known sound
Sure.
was a little bit of work, but it paid off because we sounded great together.
There's an authenticity to them that you can't fake it. You know what I mean? It's just there, and you hear lots of guys playing the standard barroom Irish fare. But when you hear them, it's like, okay, this is the real stuff. This is what it's supposed to sound like, And I would certainly respect the challenge that you probably faced having been brought right into that. But it sounds like you had some good preparation and groundwork laid down.
Oh, I was ready to rock and roll, as they say.
Yeah.
But or Irish and roll, and I mean, it's interesting that you say that, because when we played in Milwaukee, it wasn't just it was Patty Clancy had passed away at this point, so it was the Clancy family reunion, And the Milwaukee Irish Festival is the world's largest Irish festival. The audience that we played to that weekend averaged 25,000 people each day.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but I was on stage with Liam Clancy, Robbie O'Connell, who's well known as
Sure he is,
Clancy
yeah.
family member, Finbar Clancy. Finbar's gone on to be in a band called the High Kings, who are touring internationally, have a Sony Records contract, done very well. Aoife Clancy, who was in Cherish the Ladies and had an RCA contract, and oh God, there's like three or four other Clancy members, and here I am, the little American guy, and I wouldn't sing any songs. All I would do is my instrumental pieces, because of the authenticity issue.
Their voices.
Yeah, I didn't want to like, as like a paean to that family. Don't try to,
Right.
you know, I'm not going to pretend that I'm Irish, I'm not. Love to sing with them, love to play the guitar back with them, friends with all of them. And so I did my instrumental pieces, which went over very well. I had a blast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Blast.
The style and the picking and everything. You've channeled that. And folks, Eddie's got a pretty good catalog of music, and he's got an instrumental CD for all my guitar nerd friends out there, and you're going to love it. There's a lot of wonderful picking, really lush chords and things like that. And so, you know, you certainly brought plenty to the table for them. That's a great thing.
Yeah, very, very lucky.
Mm-hmm. So you're a founding member of the Shenanigans?
Yes.
I never knew that.
Oh yeah, Tom Kennedy and I started the band in 1978.
Okay.
Yeah, and the original band was Tom, Bruce Foley, and myself, and we brought in a fiddle player by the name of John Heck. That was the original band. Then Bruce left, and Tom's brother Dick Lewis joined the band, and we, right through the '80s, I basically managed the band. I was responsible for all the booking, and it was really the.
That's fun, isn't it?
Oh my God! Oh my God! But yeah, we had a blast. We used to play 26 weeks a year between the Purple Shamrock and the Black Rose, which really, in the '80s, made it to the point where we were making a living out of playing music.
Wonderful.
It was amazing. Then played every summer out in Block Island, which was. We don't want to talk about that. You know what stays in Block
Stays on
Island?
the island. Absolutely.
But,
you know, as you're well aware and appreciative, I'm sure, and all my musician friends, the ability to make a sustainable living playing music is getting harder and harder. You know, growing up and having all that work available through the 70s and into the 80s, we could work 7 nights a week and 7 days if we chose to.
Yeah.
It's not the same anymore. There's fewer venues to perform at and that sort of thing. So we diversify and look for other means to do things within the music world, you know. But you're still able to do that, and I'm sure you're grateful for it, as am I. I'm able to do it myself, and it's getting a little tougher though. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, I see some gigs that I'm doing now that I'm making the same amount of money that I made when I was in college.
Right.
I mean, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
No, musicians' pays don't rise with inflation. That's
Not at all.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's the old joke. If you want to make $1 million playing music, start with $2 million. You know, and you'll get there. Absolutely. Today I see you brought a nice Taylor guitar with you. What model's that?
This is the 714, the cedar top.
Nice. Got a beautiful tone to it.
Yeah, it's my baby.
Yes, yes indeed. Very playable, comfortable neck action on those. That's what they're noted for. The ease of play on those is just fantastic. And the cedar top, which is normally more common on a classical instrument, really brings a warmth to that particular instrument. I mean, I've been fortunate, folks, to see Eddie live a bunch of times in an unmiked room, no sound of any kind, and that thing just projects right across the room. Really does the job well. Would you like to play us a piece?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. What are you going to play for us first?
Well, we were just talking about Irish things, so I'll
Yes.
do it's an original tune, but it's about Ireland, and it's about two towns in Ireland in the County Clare, Kilmaley and Doolin. A lot of people that know anything about Irish music recognize Doolin as the seat of traditional Irish music, and it is right on the coast. That has a beautiful harbor that overlooks. You can actually see the Aran Islands from their dock. And this is a story about a fellow by the name of Tommy McGann, who was the youngest publican in Irish history. He started his own pub when he was 22 in Doolin. It's still there, called McGann's. And but he was from Kilmaley. This is his
Wonderful.
tune. It's called Kilmaley. Take me back to the place that I love, the green and flowing fields of Kilmaley, where my mother and father, my sister, all there, the green and flowing fields of Kilmaley. I'm going home, gonna get back there, stuck in a plane in the air. Mrs. Keene will be waiting for me, her living room and a cup of tea. Dual carriageways, how did we get there? It seems I'm lost in my hometown. This roundabout was a field I played in, now it circles all around. Take me back to the place that I love, the green and flowing fields of Kilmaley, where my mother and father, my sister, all there, the green and flowing fields of Kilmaley. Down to Doolin for the day, hang around at the pier. The cliffs of Moher, surfers on their board, the rocky hills of Inisheer. Time for a pint, there's a session calling, we'll all go to McGann's for a tune. Soft rain today, there's more tomorrow. We had a sunny day in June. Take me back to the place that I love, the green and flowing fields of Kilmaley, where my mother and father, my sister, all there, the green and flowing fields of Kilmaley. Remember Bernie at the bridge, he spent the day in a stream. He built a dam to watch water rising, this had always been a dream. So rise, 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 Bernie, rise, man, keep your wellies high and dry. Take every stone and make your dam, boy, if that's what it takes for you. Take me back to the place that I love, the green and flowing fields of Kilmaley, where my mother, my father, my sister, all there, the green and flowing fields of Kilmaley. Green and flowing fields of Kilmaley.
wonderful.
Thank you, pal.
Great song, great song. I noticed you make judicious use of the hybrid picking, where you'll flat pick and bring in this finger to get some melody notes bouncing
Exactly.
off the counterpoint and stuff. And for all you fellow pickers out there, hybrid picking is clearly not limited just to country music, which is where you see and hear a lot of it. It's just a great technique to master. And a trick I always tell my students to try is just learn it slowly. Pick one, pluck one, pick one, pluck one, and eventually you'll get the flowing going on that you need to do that. I notice you use a lot of counterpoint, moving bass lines against alternate melody lines, and it really fills out the sound. It creates a nice orchestral kind of effect.
Yeah. I do. I do standard flat picking as well. And,
Yep.
I used to do only finger picking, but I was actually playing on Block Island and saw a guy doing the
hybrid.
The hybrid, and went, "That's for me."
It's good to have. It's a good tool to have available.
Yeah.
Who were some of your early influences on the guitar?
Well, a fellow that I just saw this past fall, Tom Rush, who I
Gotta
think
love Tom.
Tom is just a phenomenal guitar player,
Yep.
As well as entertainer and singer, amazing fella. And but I was watching him play down in Fall River at
The Narrows?
the Narrows, yeah, and he hasn't lost a bit. He's into his 70s, and he was nailing
He still does
it.
a couple hundred gigs a year.
He's nailing it.
Yeah, he plays wonderful. I got probably exposed to him in the middle to later part of the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to see him live as well. And he used to come to the, it used to be called the Blackthorn Tavern in
Of
Easton.
course, yeah.
And it was wonderful to sit 2 tables away and watch him play slide, and his right hand, just a fantastic guitar player. And well, that's interesting. That's a great influence to have. No doubt about it.
Tom Rush, and then, although my style is not at all similar, but like John Fahey and Leo Kottke, who were just, just amazing guitar players. Then, of course, Doc Watson is, to me,
He's like Mount Rushmore.
he's
to
like
me.
Mount Rushmore
Yeah,
of guitar players.
he's way up here.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
He's the guy. I mean,
Yeah.
and when you take into account that he was blind and still played like that, it's just absolutely extraordinary.
Yep.
You know, you mentioned Leo Kottke and John Fahey. Those were the super high-level players when I was growing up on acoustic. You know, now today you've got Tommy Emmanuel and these people that are just, they've come up and become so extraordinary. They're almost beyond mortal beings.
Yep. Yep.
But Leo, as far as I was concerned in the 70s, I'd never heard anything technically on that level before.
Yep.
His chops were just beyond comprehension to me, because I was still, working out, basic blues and folk tunes in those early days.
Yep.
And to hear his use of open tunings on a 12-string instrument was
Yeah.
right out of this world.
Yeah. Well, I got to see John Fahey in 1970. I was living on Beacon Hill going to college, and he played on Charles Street. There was a coffee house there called the Sword and the Stone. He played there to an audience of about 5 people.
Wow.
And I sat as close as I am to you, and just sat there and tried to avoid him. He was sweating all over the place, but I was like, ooh. But
Yeah.
my God. I mean, just amazing player.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's always been a fairly healthy supply of great players right here in New England, too. Growing up, I was able to see a number of them. And, and I think for a lot of guitarists starting out, those early exposures mean a lot. They really imprint you in a pretty profound way. I remember when I was a teenager seeing Barry Brown,
Oh, yeah.
a local player. Barry's right out of Rhode Island, and he was finger picking Delta and Piedmont blues and all these things I hadn't seen done. I'd heard about him, I'd heard about Paul Jeremiah, but then there they were.
Well, I'll tell you a story about Paul Jeremiah. When the Shenanigans and I were playing out on Block Island. We played at a place called the National Hotel. National Hotel was rebuilt in the 90s, but back then it was like a slum for college kids.
Yeah.
And we absolutely loved it. We had a great time there. They treated us like just so well. We played at night, and Paul Jeremiah played in the afternoons on the porch. And we knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And most of the college kids there just, can play Freebird. I mean,
Yeah, they had no
clue what this guy was, and we were like frothing at the mouth,
Right.
watching him play.
This is as good as it gets.
Oh my God! Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man, he was a monster.
And he's ours. I always look at him as I know he's, in his touring days, you couldn't pin him down for more than a day in one city.
Yeah.
He traveled the country constantly in his car.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
the truest form of a road troubadour that I've ever met.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate to open for him a couple of times and been on the bill with him, and I'm always nervous when I knew I was going to be having his eyes on me.
Yeah.
At some point, it was like, wow, because I hold him up there and as good as anyone in the United
Amazing
States.
player.
Absolutely.
Amazing player.
Yeah, all great people. Let's hear another song.
Sure.
What's this one going to be?
I'm going to do another song. This doesn't sound like an Irish song, but it's actually written. I wrote it when I was touring with the Clancy Brothers, and with Bobby and Patty Clancy, and we were on the road. It's not a huge tour, but the biggest tour we did was like 13 nights. 13 venues, roads, planes, trains, and automobiles. It was just wild.
Yeah.
And Finbar was working with us at the time. He was in his 20s, and he was really missing his sweetheart. And it was just sweet to see, And so I actually wrote this. This is from Finbar's point of view, thinking about his sweetie. It's called
Wonderful.
Tell That Girl. Finally started broken-hearted on the day the band departed on a tour of one-night stands, old hotels, loving fast. Tell that girl I'm coming home, heart's as heavy as a stone. Tell that woman, hey, I've been true, my heart belongs to none but you. Planes and trains, old bus stations, worn out nerves, strained relations. Patty's late, he couldn't get up today. Bobby's saying it's the last time he'll play. Tell that girl I'm coming home, heart's as heavy as a stone. Tell that woman I've been true, my heart belongs to none but you. They're a bad man, sad man, all through this world. I do not care as long as that girl stays with me. Temptation, redemption, her heart's my own car. All that I want is her to be sure that I'll stay with her. So tell that girl I'm coming home, velvet woman, I've been true. My heart belongs to none but you. None but you.
That's a lovely song.
Thanks, pal.
Very nice, very nice. Where can folks see you performing over the next few weeks?
Well, I'm grateful for the fact that every Wednesday night from 6 to 8:30, I'm playing here in Taunton at Bar 88.
Bar 88.
Yeah, with Rick Olson and Jack Radcliffe.
Ragtime Jack. We
Yeah.
all know that rascal.
Yes, we do.
No
yeah,
doubt.
Yeah, phenomenal player.
Yes.
And it's a kind of a Celtic Americana song fest and tune fest, and we invite people to come and jam if you like to.
Bar 88, right in Taunton, folks, on Wales Street. You can see Eddie every Wednesday evening with Jack and Rick Olson. And it's a wonderful stop. And I've been there, and the food's terrific. The environment's wonderful. You're going to want to come and experience some wonderful live music. And for the most part, other than one mic to pick you up a little bit, it's pretty much an unplugged environment,
It's
which
unplugged.
is great.
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unplugged, that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no fancy reverbs, echoes, or
Yeah.
sound processing. And it's just, there it is, warts and all. You know, it's great.
The real deal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, you've also got a Martin D35 you'd mentioned, an original model with the Brazilian rosewood.
Yeah. I've got that. I've got instrument-wise, I have a handmade mandocello.
Nice. Those are great.
A friend of mine made for me. I've got a Gibson mandolin, which is a sweetie. I've got a fool around with the ukulele like everybody else has been doing lately, which is just a blast.
Yeah.
And I've got all sorts of other instruments, dulcimers. I've got some. Someone last year gave me a present, which was I can't remember the name of it, but it's actually an instrument made out of an armadillo shell.
That's awesome.
Yeah, from Colombia.
Collecting instruments is a wonderful thing. There's a history and story with all of them. And again, folks, thank you for being with us today. If you've got a wonderful instrument in your family, you'd like to share its story with me, reach out and we can talk about that. We love to find unusual guitars and stringed instruments of all kinds. Eddie, thank you for being on today, and thank you for sharing those two great songs.
My pleasure.
And I'm sure we'll be seeing you out there amidst your touring schedule. And folks, thanks for being with us and tuning in to Guitar Talk. We'll see you soon. Thanks and God bless you.